Molweni sanibonani chikati kana nawe lapha endlini usibukeleyo namhlanje sithi welcome to this beautiful Wednesday and it's cold in Queenstown bafethu. If ever uhleli endlini then you're watching us, please subscribe, hit the notification button so that each and every time we go live, each and every time we post a video uhlale nathi. Kanti ke then welcome man. Akho nto ningayaziyo, each and every Wednesday ngo-8 we here having conversation with different people we're on different fields, you know. Namhlanje we're going to talk strictly business. So if ever you want to start your own business, if ever you have your own business but it's not going anywhere, namhlanje it's your day. And I'm Dotwa namhlanje. Mr. Chris, unjani sir?
Akonunjani ngona?
Nami ndiyaphila. Before we go any further, ndicela ucacisela abahlali into yokuba ngubani uChris.
Okay, in a nutshell, let me just say hello to everyone and to the listeners. In a nutshell, I'm Chris, and who's Chris in a nutshell?
Yes.
My background is in business economics and business science. Background here. That's my background. But then when I talk about business science and business economics, it's quite broad.
Yes.
So what that's who Chris is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically who Chris is.
Okay. No, we're gonna get deeper. We're gonna get deeper. Before we continue with this interview, and then y'all heard Nobangubani or Chris, and there's one thing where is Chris from?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And Chris is from an East African country called Uganda. That's where I originate from. But Kwango come based up at Komani. Why Queenstown? Because Queenstown is the next business corridor. Okay. That's why. And then going forward, like I said, in background, I'm in Itinio in a nutshell. Also, one thing that I should highlight that people need to know is that when it comes to aspects of e-business, one thing that we should understand is that ezinto aziyambi lendlela ngayo. So let me just put it that way.
Now anfuni uye deep kakhulu because after this outbreak we're going to have a conversation, we're going to have more things to talk about because I know there's a lot of things that we should talk about. So after the outbreak, please stay tuned, tell your people to share the live, hit the notification button so that nabanye bazoyazi into yokuba we are live namhlanje. By the way, let's go to an outbreak. All right, all right, all right. Thank you for tuning, for staying with us. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you again for being with us this cold Wednesday. Abanye bombathile Chris, listening to you into yokuba nangomso nabo bazama ukwenza businesses zabo, and I believe a lot of people are trying by all means to come up with businesses, but they are failing. Now, Mr. Chris, I want to know what inspired you to be in this business space.
In a nutshell, one thing I should get into is that when you get into business, you need to look at it in a threefold way. Yeah. One of them is that you need to ask yourself, what is it that's going to make you feel comfortable? That's one of the things. And then also the other side is what is it that you need to do that you feel every day you'll have the energy to wake up to.
Okay.
So that's one thing that actually made me get into the business space.
Okay. Yeah, so for someone to start a business, what skills do they need?
For anyone to start a business, I think what is core is discipline is one thing.
Okay.
And then the second thing it should be humility. And then ububele.
Yeah.
Yeah, ububele. And then last but not least, I would say you urge to be better than who you were previously. You get.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that could be diverse in a way.
So from the statement before this conversation, we had a talk.
Yeah.
And then I want to know for oti yes, I do have a business, but it's not going anywhere.
Like I said, background is business science. I would say you need to look at how do you align business in order for it to move away from ezintezinye. So ideal, what I would say is that humble yourself. That's the first thing. And then look at simple things you get. For instance, I would say I dissect businesses. Because when someone talks about business science, that's more like dissecting businesses you get. I would walk into a space and say, okay, fine, maybe let's say maybe I'll give an example. Maybe you get. I would easily ask her, how much would it cost you to come to this, to let's say the 4 rand or 5 rands that you're selling, you're going on the street. I'm giving you an example. But then at the same time, that same principle should apply. You should not only look at only one thing. You get. You should cut across board. You get. So what I would say is that what one should look at is discipline. That's one. And then besides discipline, be humble enough to understand that this is not going my way. How can I change it?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I saw a quote. I saw a quote. I do my research. I saw a quote some other day. I don't know where I saw it. It says, a business with no sign is a sign of no business. So what's your view on that quote?
My view would be most businesses nowadays, people don't look at them as, there's a difference in between being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, and being self-employed.
Okay.
Those are three things. Okay? You can be a business owner, being an entrepreneur, as well as being self-employed. So one is ask themselves, where exactly are they? Where exactly are they? So when you say a business, like for a business, in order for it to move forward, or in order for a business to be identified, it has to have a logo.
Yeah, that's my question.
No, ideally, it's not about the logo aspect of it. You need to get into the nitty-gritties of OT. How does your business have to kickstart itself beyond your normal criteria of what it is?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so
much. Most businesses, as I was talking about branding, most businesses are not funded. So I'm asking actually for someone that needs your help, needs your assistance somewhere, somehow, that they say, okay, Prince, can you connect me to Chris? Maybe he could help me. I'm sure that Chris would help you when it comes to business funding. Am I right or am I right?
Yeah, I would say not per se. I don't fund businesses, but then I assist you through the process of funding businesses.
Funds, Most businesses are failing.
Let me start with let me go back to what you previously said in terms of funding businesses. Ideally, one thing that we need to look at when it comes to aspects of funding, we need to understand, because I'll give an example. There's so many people out there who would say, okay, fine, I do consult for businesses, you get. But then when you sit down, when you do have a sit down with them and then ask them, do you actually understand the nitty-gritties? So it becomes a challenge. So one thing I'll say is that going forward, what is core is people understanding that one, you don't just get funding altogether. There should be a criteria. There should be a history of how you've been doing things altogether.
Okay.
You won't just wake up to me and tell me, okay, fine, Chris. Mzeke, let me just
I've got a new business.
Yeah.
Can you help me? Yeah.
No, it doesn't happen. It doesn't go that way.
Okay.
Let me give a small aspect of what Chris does. Okay. There are three things. There's business consulting, and then there's skills development, and this is what I call also business dissecting. You get?
Okay, yes.
You like I'd call it. I'm a business surgeon.
Yeah.
You get? Whereby. Like someone who's sick, and then you make sure that the business is right and all that. So your question was, why do
most business fail? Yeah.
Most businesses fail because one, there's lack of discipline. I initially spoke about discipline. Discipline is very important, and then the other thing is budget, because for instance, I'll ask you, do you know how much you spent the last 2 days?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how much I spent.
You don't know how much I spent. But I'll give you an example. Today is Wednesday, but I know what I spent from yesterday until today. So it gives you an insight that it comes to discipline. One of the things is discipline, consistency, and then making sure that once you combine the discipline's consistency, then all the others will fall into place. Not forgetting, knowing how to budget for your time as well.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
So, I wanna have this conversation through the night, but we have a limited time and all that. So we're gonna go to our second outbreak and our last outbreak, and then after that we continue with our interview with Mr. Chris. Only if ever you want him, just leave a comment up, guys. Up his hands. You can leave a comment here. You're gonna talk to Chris. Outbreak. All right. Guys, since the nathi apha kwinqoko the chat show, Incoko the chat podcast. Kanti apha we don't just interview people, but we have a conversation now. But we conversate with business people. We talk on a lot of things, apha guys. We talk on health, we talk on education, we talk on lifestyle, we talk on training topics, and namhlanje singqale ngqo with business. So if ever your business yakho is not going anywhere, as I said, please leave a comment, and then Tina will get back to you. Mr. Chris, Mr. Honoria. All right.
Yeah, that's Honoria Group, actually.
Honoria Group. Yeah. The last time we met, we had this conversation of Honoria Group and all that. Yeah. So, Mr. Chris, I want us to go back on these things that makes our businesses fail. Okay. You know, so I want you to touch base on that, and then we're gonna go through with our interview.
Okay. One thing that makes businesses fail, the first thing is lack of knowing exactly what you want to do.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, like I said, I did highlight most businesses mix up. Someone may think they are self-employed, and yet they're business owners.
Yes.
And then someone else may think that he's an entrepreneur, is an entrepreneur, and in actual sense, he's self-employed. So the moment you do take a division between those three, because owning a business is different, being self-employed is different, same as being an entrepreneur. So now, getting to your question, just to answer your question is, the moment you dissect those three and then make sure that you differentiate between the three, then you realize that, okay, fine, I won't be able to fail. Okay. Because when you're a business owner, you're able to look at things broadly altogether. Okay, yes. In other words, you know that, okay, fine, you're owning a business. When you're an entrepreneur, it implies you're owning a business, and then at the same time, you're also under it altogether. Okay. When you're self-employed, it implies that most of the cases, if you're not there, it implies your business won't be able to run. Yeah. So now, just to highlight on why most businesses fail, simple, lack of discipline. So
we heard you. Discipline is the key. Yeah. So there are three things I'd love actually for you to elaborate or to explain to me. One is business alignment. Okay. Second is business discipline, and thirdly is business positioning.
Okay. Aspects of business alignment is you need to know what you like doing. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Because you can't just get into something for the sake of doing it. Yeah. You need to have passion altogether. Because if you don't have passion for whatever you do, then it becomes a different thing altogether. Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that we have a very limited time of space, but then I'll go into aspects of it. Business alignment implies that you need to do what you like. Okay. Have passion for whatever you're doing. For instance, you as Prince is something that you like doing altogether. Yeah. So make sure that for everything that you're doing, you align it to your passion altogether. Then when it comes to business discipline has different facets under it. Okay, it could be how you handle your customers. That's one. It could be how you handle your finances. That's discipline. Okay. It could be how you handle when you're facing challenges altogether. That's the discipline. And then last but not least, business positioning. Yeah. If you remember, 4 years ago we were in COVID altogether. Yeah. And one thing that most businesses did close altogether. I remember I used to have a chat with most of my colleagues, and I told them, you know what, you need to remain relevant on the market. Yeah. Ask yourself as a business, year in, year out, how are you going to remain relevant on the market so that you won't phase out when it comes to how you run your business altogether. You need to remain relevant on the market. That's what they call business positioning. If you feel that maybe, say, I'll give an example. The adverts that have been done previously, and they're still coming back altogether. But then you ask yourself that some people will recycle adverts, not because they need to recycle them, but then because they're trying to change how positioned are they. Yeah. Now, when you have a pyramid of your business alignment, your discipline and positioning, okay, once you understand that all collective, then it will be easy for you to know that, okay, fine, this way I'll be able to
do this and do that.
Not do this and do that. No, you'll be able to look at your business a different way. I normally tell my colleagues that those are in the business space that we should not confuse movement is progress. Altogether. You could be moving forward, but then that's not progress. Yeah. So often, if you don't highlight those, then it becomes a challenge. Okay. We should not confuse movement with progress. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Most businesses collapsed during COVID. I wanted to touch base on how COVID affected you.
I'm not trying to be indefined or anything, because actually, in a way, COVID didn't affect me in a way, because I always have that behind my mindset that you need to ask yourself beyond certain things what I will be doing. Okay, like I was saying, when the pyramid, I call it the pyramid, the positioning, the discipline and alignment. When you're within that triangle, you realize that even when the aspects of COVID came in, I think I had the shock absorbers to make sure that 2021, 2022, you don't have to look at things simply, like as they are. Sometimes you need to dissect them in more broader aspects. But then also, one thing I should highlight is that we should not only depend on one source of income. Okay, you should have different sources of income. Okay, that way you'll be able to navigate, especially with the high cost of living. Thank you so much.
We talked about your side hustles. I know that you're doing these businesses, and then your side hustle was a way of giving back to the community. And then what's the business? Let's talk about this business that you decided. This one is my way of giving back.
My side hustle currently is a car wash. How did I realize that? How did I get into that side hustle? The car wash, I call it as my side hustle because it only contributes up to maybe say 7% of what I would call my revenue, something like that. Or it's 7% of if I'm to dissect it in revenue streams. Now with it, I felt like when I would see people washing cars on the streets and whatnot, I said, no man, that's not right. You get, and I felt like those kids on the streets, you don't realize what they're going through. But then most of them, I'll talk to them. I'll give an example. From when I started the side hustle, that was late 2020. There are people I've employed who have since gone back to school. They've come through. Someone tells me a story. I tell no, don't mind. I'll assist you. You apply for school, for varsity, and then they go back to school. So I would say that was my way of giving back, because I felt like, okay, fine. How do I relate to society altogether? So, and my way of relating back to society was through my side hustle. That was my way of giving back to society. Because with my side hustle, I'm able to meet different people of different spheres.
And different tribes. So, guys, before I let Chris go and before we close the show, I don't want to close the show. If it was for me, we would have been talking and talking and talking the whole night. So, Mr. Chris, there's a final question. There's a final thing as for Incoko the Chat Show that we would love you to do. Is a message of courage, or a message that you'd give to our youth out there. But then before you give out that message, I would love you to look at that camera and then give them your message.
My message to the youth is one thing. Let me give my story. I went to do business at a young age, and I think by the age of 19, I was already an established business person altogether. But then the difference was I was always confusing different aspects of business. But my message to the youth is, one, align yourself with what you like. That's number one. Number two, have the discipline. And then number three, if you feel the alignment and the discipline haven't worked, go back to the drawing board. Okay, you need to get back to the drawing board and ask yourself, whatever I've done, will it work for me going forward? And then last but not least, I would say you need to remain relevant altogether. If you feel whatever you've done is not relevant, then ask yourself, how do I go back to the drawing board so that you can remain relevant? Thank you so much. That's my message to the youth. But last but not least, one thing I will say is that we need to make sure that you remain humble in any business that you start, because that way it will be able to define who you are. Thank you so much.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Chris, for pulling up, and thank you for coming whenever we called you. And we hope that you had fun having this conversation. And until next time, and for everyone that want to contact Mr. Chris, where do they get you?
I'll give them my cell phone number.
Okay.
0735 968 927.
Okay. Mr. Chris's cell phone number will be written here. So, Mr. Chris, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.